think about. Don't be like this branch that will fade away. Out here in Fort Worth, Texas, Disciples Heart. I wanted to get on real quick, talk about deny yourself or help yourself. It's pretty much how there's two types of people: the people who help themselves, or the ones who really truly deny themselves and show themselves to be disciples. Like Jesus said, if you are my disciples, if you're truly my disciples, then you'll do these things. You'll pick up your cross, you'll deny yourself and follow him. But to follow him means do the things he does, right? Because he's a shepherd. He knows the way. He knows the way to live, and knows the way to be, knows what to do, when to do it, how to do it. He knows everything we need to know. And read the Word, talk to the Father, ask him to confirm that, and affirm that, and he will. And he'll show us the way. We'll all come together and know one another, and we'll actually be able to live the life that he wants us to live, not the way we think, because the way we think is always wrong. It really is. You think about that, y'all. Either we're going to make the decision every single day to do it our way, which is wrong every time. It may not show up right away, but it eventually leads to nowhere. It leads to, like it says in the Bible, it's into a ditch. Let me turn my volume down here. It leads into a ditch, and if anybody else is around us, we're going to be leading them into a ditch too. So if we consider ourselves to be leading in any way, whether it's our family, whether we're creating our circle and a tribe of disciples, like I always say, look at the example. Yeshua, who is Jesus, Yeshua had 11 men around him, and other families and women, but mainly the 11. So, but are we really doing that? Are we denying ourselves and what we would normally help ourselves to, whatever that is, like the earthly lust, the wanderlust, the things that we think will fill us up and they never do? What happens when you finish a nice trip, or you finish a nice meal, or something sweet, or have a drink, or refresh? You get thirsty again, you get hungry again, you're hunger and thirst for those things. Are we really hungering and thirsting for righteousness, which is right living, right action, which really starts with right thinking, and thinking with the mind of Christ, with his thoughts, not our own, replacing them? That's how we deny ourselves. And I am talking about what God's speaking to me about, and how I always talk in a way that I'm not talking down to anybody. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, by golly, whatever. I'm not, it's not about just me telling you. I'm not doing this stuff in a condescending way, because I am, just like Christ said, the greatest among you is a servant, right? The greatest among you is the one, the people that are around you, the greatest ones are not the ones who exalt themselves as if they're somebody. It's the ones who humble themselves as if they're nobody, right? It's like Paul was talking about, I'm the worst of sinners, right? Because the reason why he called himself that is because he was slaughtering people who were Christians, right? Who believed in Christ, who were disciples, right? And they didn't really call them Christians back then. That's something that people came up with to change doctrines along the way. He was slaughtering disciples, right? Martyring them, killing them for Satan's kingdom, basically. So, and he didn't know it, and that's the hard thing. It's like a lot of times people will do the wrong thing, thinking they're doing the right thing, and in the last days it'll increase. So that's why we got to be real careful to be shrewd as serpents and as gentle as doves, to be discipled, right? That's what I keep talking about over and over again. Examine yourself, right? St. Augustine said years and years ago, said, an unexamined life is not worth living, okay? That's heavy if you think about it. That means it's a worthless life if you're not looking at your own sin, if you're not judging yourself instead of judging others. Judge not lest you be judged, right? A lot of people use that one as a defense to continue to sin. Not okay. We need to examine ourselves and know that if someone is coming to us and saying, that doesn't look right or you're doing something wrong, we should take that as discipline. If we reject that, it says we're a fool. It says in the Bible, foolish people reject sound judgment and wisdom and correction. They don't want to hear it. They mock it. They're like, whatever. I'm trying to tell you, I don't want to hear that. No. If you don't want to hear it, you're tuning into the wrong voice. You're listening to the voice of a stranger. You're not a disciple. You may be call yourself one, but you're faking it. There's so much. Hollywood's churning out fake believe all the time. I call it fake book. It's not Facebook. For the most part, there are real people on here. There are people who are doing their best to preach the gospel, trying to spread the truth, and amongst all of the filth and lies and doctrines of demons and all the trash that's being posted on a daily and hourly and minute by minute, second by second business, basis. What we got to do right now is we got to know how to examine ourselves and stop trying to point fingers at other people. There's so much I'm working on right now, and I'm sure many of you also are out there, but you can't just do it by yourself. We have to really be surrounded, be humble, and have humility, and let other people see where we need to be corrected. And be corrected, because nobody's arrived. There is nobody who is great. There's only one who did it right, and that is the Father through the Son, right? Even Jesus himself said, I can do nothing apart from the Father. There's only one that does right, and that's the one who is not flesh, who's perfect, who is the Father, right? He wants us to be that way too. It's pure spirit and not be diluted by all the stuff that's around us. Hopefully this is making sense. I can't talk fast, I can move, but because all this is in here, God has been just like working on me for years and years and years and years, right? Like he has us all if you've lived any time at all, especially if you're past 20 or 30 or whatever. But listen, so that's it. Examine yourself. Deny yourself. Are you denying yourself or helping yourself? Are you just trying to help yourself to every kind of pleasure around that will never satisfy? It's lust. People think lust is just lusting after the flesh as in sexual and stuff. That's a big one, but it's also after what you put on your back, the lust of the flesh and the pride of life. Things you put on your back, your clothes, your bling, your car you're driving. If you want to try to keep up status like you're somebody, you got the gorgeous threads. You got the latest trend tech. It doesn't make you better, and it never will. That's what the enemy is trying to sell us. So we'll be enslaved and impoverished to those things, and have all these bills over our head, and not really be living, and trying to get away from it by going on vacations. Right? Makes no sense. Or get away from it by going to drown ourselves in whatever we're lusting after. Whether it's alcohol, whether it's sexual immorality, whether it's lusting after a spouse. Just to have one. That's a lust, right? Wanderlust is trying to find stuff like you're in the dark and you don't really know what you want, but you got to get something so you feel good for 5 minutes. That's all satanic. It's all Satan's lies to try to sway us by using our flesh against us. Just like he did every other disciple, every other person who's ever lived, like he tried to do with Jesus, Yeshua himself, like he did with Paul, like he did with he said a thorn in his flesh, which is demonic influence trying to get him to lust after and do things that they were doing immoral back in that day before the Roman and Greek Empire crumbled again. So, and it's the same thing for any of us. We've got to know what I was going to say. Also, Peter, right? Jesus said that Peter was speaking, or Satan was trying to speak through Satan. Satan was trying to speak through Peter. If I can say it right. And the reason why I'm kind of stumbling over my words because I got to get going. I wanted to get this out here. This is stuff that nobody talks about. I'll say it over and over again like a mantra. Nobody hardly ever talks about this. You may hear about it a little bit at church from time to time. Why don't you hear about it? Because usually that pastor's congregation is not in full control yet. They haven't fully submitted. There is not repentance in that church, that so-called assembly and body. It's not, because if it's a body, they're all going in one direction and one real. They're all working together to make sure as many people are as free as possible. And there are different places that do this, and there are few, couple here and there, but for the most part, it's just a big show. It's like it is Hollywood, right? Hollywood makes productions to look like they're doing something, but they're not. And you can have a big budget and $1 million budget per year or whatever, sometimes even getting into the billions now with some of these big mega ministries, but they're not doing anything. They produce a whole bunch of content and all kinds of words, but a lot of people aren't really getting free. There's testimonies here and there, but as much as they're consuming and using what's flowing through them as far as amount of people that are watching and people that are listening and tuning in and going to attend and giving their money, time, and energy, they're not producing a lot. Why? Because I've been to a lot of these places throughout the years, over the last 15 to 20 years of my life, and there's no fruit. You name the ministry, I guarantee you, I don't care what it is, there's very little fruit. Yeah, they're going and they're preaching the gospel in other countries, but they're neglecting America. That's why America is becoming more immoral, because people aren't denying themselves, they're helping themselves, because they're not taught and discipled to deny themselves. If we all denied ourselves, then we'd be helping each other, and nobody would try to help themselves because we'd all be helped. Wow, it's so simple, right? It is, but it's not easy, because he says, if you're my disciples, you'll pick up your cross. Who wants to do that? You'll be crucified on that cross. It'll be hard. You'll be persecuted. People won't like you. They won't say, oh, you're a great person. Who cares about that? I'm nobody without my Father, and my Father's the one who gets all the glory, not me. I don't want to get, I don't want to get before him and be before him on my face with him saying, what did you do? I want to make sure I do it right, and I want to make sure as many other people as possible do it right. We're going to follow him together. That's what discipling is, y'all. All right, I'm at 10 minutes. Listen, share this with somebody. And I don't see too many people share because I haven't been on here as much, but I'm going to make sure I cultivate a community. I'm still working with, going to be contacting and working with brothers out in Corsicana and other places. Connect with me. You can leave a comment below this video. You could private message me if you see this on Facebook or on Instagram, and on YouTube for sure. You can leave a comment and we can connect that way. Let's see. That's pretty much it, y'all. Just contact me if you need to. Share it. I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be holding a couple of events, maybe 4 events throughout the summer on the Brazos, and I want to do give a message and have a time for people to come and hear the gospel, the true gospel, and also to be able to be baptized for the first time. And the name of the river, by the way, Brazos, just found this out. All these years I lived in Texas, didn't know it, but Brazos de Dios is the name of it, a river by the Spanish who were in America, and they called it that because it means, you probably know Spanish, it means arms of God, right? And what a better place to go to the arms of God, to be baptized, to hear the gospel, and to learn how to be discipled. Truly discipled. You don't have to go to a congregation to be discipled. You should be able to go there, but for the most part you won't, because I've gone many, many times. The church has been set up wrong. It's a sham, it's a lie, it's fake. I'm not saying leave it all together all at once, but let people know what you're doing and start making your own disciples and being discipled right where you're at and wherever you go, okay? It's easy. It's simple. Let me rephrase that. It's not easy, but it's simple, and we can all do it if we know how to do it. And we just continue to multiply, continue to grow the kingdom. We can do this for God's glory. He said we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength. Christ Yeshua, who is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Share this, like it, comment. More people need to hear this. This is the truth. My name is Eric Walker. I'm out here in Fort Worth, Texas, for Disciples Heart. And I'm creating a website, disciplesheart.org. You can find me on YouTube if you haven't seen this video on YouTube. I'll put it on all my social media. Y'all are awesome. I love y'all, and I mean that. See you on the next video.